Hi, my name is Newell Davis with World Composting, and today we're going to take a look at our Vermibag Max that has the red wigglers in it and see how it's doing. We're also going to take some of these worms out of the system and put them in another container to get another system, an urban worm bag going with a mix of red wigglers and European night crawlers that I harvested from another urban worm bag. So with that, we're going to put those off to the side. We're going to check out the system. We're going to add some biochar. We're going to add some bedding. We're going to add some food. And we're going to see how these worms are doing. They've been doing pretty well in the past. I don't know if it dries out a little bit. It's been very dry here, and this system does have a layer over top, but it does dry out on the side. So we're going to see how it's doing. Hopefully these worms are doing really well where we can do this harvest and keep moving forward with our system. Let's go take a look. All right, here is our Vermibag Max here. Let's go ahead and open this up and take a look and see how this system is doing. This system has been one of my better systems, except for during the winter. Let me grab a glove, where it tends to dry out a little bit more, which is why I always make sure I keep that tarp on it here. So let's go ahead and remove that. Take a quick look and see how it looks. Oh, look at that. It's nice and wet. That's a good thing. It means we're getting a lot of humidity in there. There's one worm on it. Lots of moisture on here. That's good. We want to see that. We want to see that there's a lot of moisture on here. Actually, we do have a millipede in there. I've not seen many millipedes in this system, but it might be the next thing for this one. Maybe they're going to get some millipedes as well, like some of my other systems have had. All right. So with that, I am going to do a harvest of this system. So let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit here. I am going to do a harvest. Let me grab my container. If you have not watched, I have another video where I harvested a bunch of worms from my European nightcrawler system to go in. So now this is the harvest from here. Oh, wow, there's a lot of worms in this section right here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this and throw this right in here. So there's a lot of worms in here. This is now a mixed bed of red wigglers and European nightcrawlers. So that's going to go in my urban worm bag that I just emptied out. Let's just see if we have another maybe a couple handfuls in here. The castings in here look phenomenal, which isn't surprising. Now we've got a good amount of worms in here. We're going to see if we can build up that other system once we get it going. Should I add more? Let's just see. Let's just see if we can find another large section of worms in here that I can grab real quick. All right, pretty good section right there. A few more. I'm not too worried about the system running out of worms. This one seems to recover very quickly when it gets low. I'm just trying to find, to say, these plastic strings. This is where I forgot to rip off the strings before I put these in here. I wish I had remembered to rip off this right here. This is the string that comes off of these, and there's a couple worms stuck in them. But I will put that off to one side for now. Try to fix that later. But this is the one problem I always forget with the shirts is I got to cut off those plastic pieces because they will get caught in the worms. I don't know if hopefully it doesn't kill them, but they also don't break down. They usually come out through the bottom. There's more worms. I think we're good though. I'm going to just go ahead and put my container here to the side, and we'll see that again in a future video when I restart another urban worm bag. And that will be the definitive way to start one of these bag systems here. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look and see how this system's doing. I'm going to go ahead and grab these shirt parts and just kind of keep them in a ball over here. I'm going to keep them in the system, but I just want to try to keep them all together so I can move it around easily. And this is the one problem with this system right here. As you can see in this corner, it's very dry. It's very dry all the way down here. That's the only problem I have with these Vermibags is that they are really dry around the edges. You really got to add a lot of moisture, and it just keeps drying out and drying out. But as you can see, the material down here just looks great. This is just great material. It's great compost. I'm always impressed with what this system can put out and how large it is. By the way, that creaking noise is just the wood frame going around it. All right, let's just see what else we've got over here. We're going to go a little bit to the front. Same thing. It's dry kind of going into this corner here, but again, just great looking material. It's a little bit tight up, but you can see the worms in here. My lights are starting to flicker. The batteries must be dying on them. But looks great. All right, we're going to grab, as I said, that string part, and we're just going to move that up to the side. We'll check the other corner over here. A little bit drier in this corner. It's pointing more towards the center of the room. And look at that. Still great looking material. A little bit dry, but other than that, great. It's just absolutely great looking material. All down the edges here as well. Same thing. It's dry, but You get in about 2 inches, and look at that, you get great material out of it. So this system definitely needs a lot of moisture, which we're going to go ahead and start adding right now using my sprayer. Let me just get that turned on. Let me get the hose caught on something there. Give me a second. All right, here we go. We're going to start spraying the system down. We're just going to try to get all this paper wet on top. This paper is not breaking down because of how dry it is. And I just want to try to get everything a little bit wet. That's going to help the worms work at it. It's going to keep the microbes alive that they need. And we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to add a little bit of food to this, but we're going to add more of our first system that I'm going to add the pre-composted material to. So, and that should be ready to eat for these worms. This is going to help them expand very quickly as far as what they can, the population hopefully, and there's going to be a lot of food for them to eat right away. As you can see, there was no food left in here when I was digging. Actually, we can dig down a little bit further in here. Let's just see. There's just no food left in here, really. Get all this material a little bit wet for them. In fact, you know what? Let's just go ahead and move this around to the sides a little bit. As I mentioned in my other video, I switched gloves to these different gloves that I'm using now. These Wonder Grip gloves. I will have a link down below. I do like these because they're reusable. They feel really solid on my hands, and I'm not getting so much stuff stuck to my hands, which I've been using the other gloves for a while, but I stopped. I started using gloves years ago. I really feel you should, with your worms, use gloves. It's not the fact that gloves are just better or anything. It's just I feel that if you're touching a whole bunch of stuff, you really should be taking care of your hands. And this stuff, as you can see, it dries out and sort of starts sticking to these gloves. It does the same thing to my fingers, and it's hard to get off afterwards. So, just going to rinse all this off here. Again, glad we're getting all this wet. This really needs a lot of moisture to it. It's very dried out. All right, there we go. Let me just get off my gloves. There we go. Let me turn off my sprayer here. All right, and the first thing we are going to add is just a little bit of food, because I do like to add some of the food to the system, and I've been using my food cycler output for this. And I'll leave a link down below to a video, or you can check my sources to see a video on the food cycler. This is a not composter. It's a grinding dehydrating system, and it just turns your food into this right here, your leftover food scraps. And then we're going to add a little bit of biochar to this, and we're just going to go ahead and take some of the bucket that I have of biochar and just dump it in, or dump some of it in, not all of it obviously, because I've got a 5-gallon bucket here that'll easily flood out through the bottom. And just try to get this a little bit wet so it's ready to go. Just like that. Maybe put a little bit on my hands here to clean them off. There we go. And that is, of course, water, fish tank water with biochar, or charcoal that's been, it's wood that's been turned into charcoal, or shells and things like that. And then in a fire been burned without oxygen and then ground up. And I have videos on how to do all that if you check my channel out. So with that, last thing we're going to add here, I did a video on pre-compost, and I'll link that down below or up top here. And I have it, I need to use it. I need to use this pre-compost. It's starting to turn a little bit moldy. I'm going to bring the bag over here to show you what it looks like. So it's starting to turn moldy inside, and we're going to go ahead and add all of this to the system. This is way past due to be used. And it's starting to turn solid. Just like that. We're going to go ahead and add that just like that to the system. I'm going to throw this off to the side. And this is all pre-composted material. This is going to be great for the worms. The worms should go absolutely nuts for this. This has a lot of microbial activity in it. This is going to be probably overfeeding them, so we're not going to have to check on this system for a while, which is fine. Has a slight citrusy smell to it. Doesn't smell bad at all, but it's just it's time to use this. So there we go. That's on. Now this is on top. Now this is going to be a problem because this is going to lure a lot of bugs. So what I have now is, and it's also going to dry out. So we're going to put on a layer of cardboard, which is what I almost always do. I'm going to need more cardboard. Give me a second here. I did not have the cardboard container right next to me. I thought that would be enough. I'm going to go ahead and add another thing of cardboard on here, just like that. And this cardboard is dry, so we're going to have to wet this down again because we want to make sure that we got a layer of moisture on top here, so that way the worms can really move around in that system. So, and also, if it's dry, it's going to soak up all the water from that pre-composted material. And that's not what we want either. So we're going to get this going, get this wetted down. And this is the first system that we're using the pre-compost in, that we're trying it out. And I will have to make some more depending on how this works. I think this is going to work really well. I think they're going to love this food in here. But I also wanted to try making it with biochar as well. Last time I just used fish water, and I really want to use biochar when I'm doing this. By the way, I'm sorry that this makes so much noise, but it just does. It seems to be making more and more noise as I go. I'm not sure why. I wonder, is it running out of water? No, maybe it is. Maybe it's running out of water. So it's getting to the bottom here. We're going to run out of water here before we finish up this video, I think. I'll have to refill this. So I'm going to rinse my gloves off. And I think that's almost all the water that's in here. That is. That's going to be almost all the water. I'm going to have to refill my, my pump here. So with that, I have a whole bunch of videos that I've been doing on different topics. If you have any questions, please leave them down below so we can discuss them, or I can get you some answers, especially if you have any questions. I love questions and trying to come up with different solutions. But I have lots of other videos on the topics that I've done, and I have lots of other videos that I've done over the years with different aspects, such as, can you compost citrus? Can you compost pineapple? Can you compost all these different materials? And I even have time-lapse videos if you're interested. So with that, please go ahead and check out my other videos.